Hey everyone! We are working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content and it is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button right now as we proceed. Subscribe to this channel right now because the conversation we are having today is one that the tennis media does not want you to hear, and that specific fact tells you everything you need to know about why it matters so much. The tennis establishment is currently experiencing what can only be described as a collective meltdown. The insiders are tweeting. The clickbait headlines are multiplying. The coaching carousel enthusiasts who have built entire media careers around the WTA's favorite pastime, firing coaches after bad afternoons and replacing them with expensive celebrity names who promise transformation and deliver disruption, are absolutely beside themselves. Because Eala, the 20-year-old Filipina phenomenon who has spent the past 12 months dismantling the expectations and the ceiling and the institutional assumptions of an entire sport, is looking directly at the loudest voices in the tennis media machine and doing the one thing they genuinely cannot comprehend. She is saying no. She is keeping Joan Bosch. She is refusing to participate in the circus. And she is doing it with the kind of calm, grounded, unshakable certainty that is simultaneously the most boring story the tennis establishment knows how to tell and the single smartest strategic decision any player has made in women's tennis in years. Let us talk about why. First, let us spend a moment properly appreciating the absolute comedy that is the modern Women's Tennis Association's relationship with coaching stability, because the context is both hilarious and genuinely important for understanding why Eala's refusal to play along is so significant. The WTA Tour has developed, with remarkable consistency and remarkable speed, a culture in which coaching changes are not just common but almost reflexively expected in response to any performance that falls short of perfection. You lose in the second round of a Grand Slam, fire the coach. Your forehand feels slightly off during a Tuesday practice session, fire the coach. The logic, such as it is, runs something like this. The player is talented, the results are disappointing, therefore something in the coaching environment must be wrong, and the solution is to replace the current coach with a more famous, more expensive, more socially visible name whose presence in the player's box communicates seriousness and ambition to the watching world. Patrick Mouratoglou, Brad Gilbert, Sasha Bajin. These names cycle through the WTA coaching marketplace with a frequency that would be exhausting if it were not so routinely presented as evidence of a player's commitment to improvement. The media loves it. Every coaching change is a story. Every new partnership is a narrative reset. Every high-profile hire is an implicit promise that this time, with this coach, the potential is finally going to be unlocked in the way that all those previous coaches somehow failed to unlock it. And when the next difficult result arrives, because difficult results always arrive in professional tennis, because the sport is too hard and too competitive and too mentally demanding for any coaching change to eliminate the fundamental challenges of competing at the elite level, the cycle begins again. Into this environment walks Eala, carrying a massive following, a skyrocketing ranking that reached world number 31 after her Dubai campaign, corporate sponsorships that established veterans would notice with considerable envy, and a coach named Joan Bosch who has been with her since she was 13 years old and who the tennis media is apparently incapable of discussing without immediately questioning whether he is equipped to take her to the next level. The establishment's brains, as one observer noted with some amusement, short-circuit when they try to process her situation. She is a superstar now, the logic goes. Superstars need superstar coaches. The rumors about her rejecting seven-figure offers from celebrity coaching names are circulating with the enthusiasm of people who cannot fathom a 20-year-old with a healthy ego and enormous financial incentives choosing loyalty over a famous name. And Eala, for her part, continues to simply not care about any of it. She is on a practice court somewhere working on her lefty slice with Joan Bosch, and the noise from the clickbait machine is not reaching her because she built the walls against it years ago. Who is Joan Bosch? Because the narrative being constructed around the coaching debate treats him as an absence, as the thing that is not a celebrity supercoach, as the gap where a more impressive name should be, rather than as the specific, irreplaceable, deeply important person that he actually is in Eala's career and in her life. He was not hired when the Nike check arrived. He was not recruited when the tournament directors started scheduling her on bigger courts and the crowds started arriving in the thousands and the rankings started climbing toward territory no Filipino player had ever entered before. He was there when she was 13 years old and scared and thousands of miles from her family in a country where everything was foreign and the only familiar thing in her daily life was the tennis court. He was on the other side of the net during the 5-hour training days at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca. He was present through the physical pain and the academic pressure and the specific psychological weight of a young girl who had sacrificed a normal childhood to pursue something that most of the world was not yet willing to believe she could actually achieve. He helped build the game that the tennis world is now trying to analyze and copy and defend against. The heavy topspin. The point construction built on chess-like patience. The extraordinary lateral movement that makes her defensive coverage so frustrating for opponents who think they have hit clean winners. The stubborn refusal to give away free points that makes every match she plays feel like a war of attrition that her opponents are always losing even when the games are close. Joan Bosch built all of that. Not on a whiteboard with launch angle data and serve speed analytics. He built it across 7 years of shared work on practice courts where nobody was watching and nobody was tweeting and the only thing that mattered was making the next player better than the one who showed up the previous morning. The trust dimension of this relationship is the part the coaching carousel narrative is structurally incapable of accounting for, and it is the part that matters most when professional tennis gets genuinely difficult. Tennis is the loneliest sport on the planet. There are no timeouts. There are no teammates to share the burden when the match turns against you. There are no substitutions available when your legs are heavy and your serve is misfiring and the crowd is restless. When Eala is down 2-5 in a deciding set against a top 5 player with the pressure of an entire nation's expectations sitting on her shoulders, the only lifeline available to her is a look up into the player's box. And what she needs to see in that moment is not a celebrity. She does not need a coach who is composing his next television commentary segment in his head while he watches her serve. She needs the man who knows her breaking point because he is the one who helped her push through it when she was 14 years old on a practice court in Mallorca at 6 in the morning. You cannot acquire that knowledge with a contract negotiation. It does not exist on a coaching resume. It has to be built across years of shared suffering and shared growth and the specific kind of relationship that only forms when two people have been through genuinely hard things together. Eala has that. She knows she has it. And she is not trading it for a famous name and a verified Instagram account and a multi-million-dollar price tag regardless of how loudly the media insists that she should. The tactical argument against Bosch dissolves even faster than the philosophical one when you examine it honestly. The suggestion that he lacks the experience to take her to the next level ignores the specific and foundational connection between his coaching philosophy and her game's actual identity. Everything that makes Eala dangerous on a tennis court is rooted in the Spanish clay court philosophy that Bosch teaches and that the Nadal Academy was built around. The patient, relentless, suffocating baseline game that forces opponents into physical wars of attrition they are not prepared for. The topspin that kicks violently off hard courts and creates uncomfortable contact zones even for players whose natural game is built on power and pace. Bringing in a celebrity coach who specializes in a different tactical framework does not upgrade a game built on this foundation. It destabilizes it. It introduces conflicting voices and competing philosophies at exactly the moment when the consistency and clarity of a singular coaching relationship is the competitive advantage that allows a player to go deeper into tournaments without the mental fatigue of managing internal contradictions in her own game. The celebrity coaches want to leave their fingerprints. They want to change the grip and tweak the toss and adjust the footwork so that when the wins come, and Eala's wins are coming regardless because her talent is that good, they can point to the adjustments and claim the credit. Eala is too intelligent for that transaction. She knows who built the house. She is not about to hand the keys to someone who showed up after the construction was already complete. The lesson her grandfather Lolo Bobby taught her on the public courts in the Philippines, that you do not abandon the people who built the house just because you finally got invited to the mansion, is not sentiment. It is strategy. The mental peace that comes from knowing your support system is stable and loyal and completely invested in your success as a person rather than your prize money as a percentage is not a soft benefit that gets outweighed by the analytical advantages a celebrity coach might theoretically provide. It is a competitive edge that compounds over time, across tournaments, through the inevitable stretches of difficult results and physical challenges and media pressure that every professional athlete faces regardless of how talented they are. When Eala serves at 30-40 in a deciding set at a Grand Slam with the weight of a nation's expectations pressing down on every decision she makes, the stability of her support system is not background noise. It is the foundation everything else is built on. Joan Bosch provides that stability in a way that no new coaching relationship, however famous the name attached to it, could replicate for years if ever. The broader statement her loyalty makes to the tour deserves the final word here, because it goes beyond tactical decisions and personal relationships into something that speaks to who Eala is as an athlete and as a person. In a sport where everyone seems to be selling something, selling the coaching change narrative, selling the transformation story, selling the idea that excellence is always one expensive hire away, she is simply doing the work. She is refusing to be owned by the media's version of her story. She is telling the entire tennis establishment, with her silence on the coaching debate and her presence on the practice court with Joan Bosch every morning, that she understands something about sustained greatness that the clickbait machine has not yet figured out. The revolving door coaches will be forgotten. The manufactured narratives will fade. The players who burned through expensive coaching relationships searching for a magic solution will be remembered as cautionary tales. And Eala will be remembered as the player who stayed true to her foundation, built something real and lasting with the person who was there from the beginning, and won on her own terms with her own team. She does not need a celebrity in her corner. She is the celebrity. Joan Bosch is the mechanic who knows exactly how her engine runs. And that engine, right now, is running beautifully. Drop your honest take in the comments right now. Do you think Eala's loyalty to Joan Bosch is her greatest competitive advantage? Or is there a part of you that secretly wonders what a legendary super coach might unlock? Smash that like button to push this analysis to every tennis fan who needs to hear a perspective the mainstream media is not interested in telling. Subscribe to this channel for more unfiltered tennis truth, and share this video because this conversation is long overdue. She is playing for history. The rest of